Welcome to the Teacher Encounters programme. This is now our 7th interactive webinar, and this is going to be run by Frankie Brookton, and she's the new business and culture lead, and she's also accompanied by Sophie Burton, the office manager. Is Sophie with us? I think that's a different Sophie, but I think Sophie might join us.
No, that is Soph.
Oh,
That
it is
No, that's me. It's got my maiden
Oh.
name on it, just
Hi.
to be really confusing.
I've got the exact same thing. Hi, Sophie, welcome. So as I said, I'll just briefly introduce the programme and then we can move along. So as I'm sure you're all aware, teachers and other educational staff have a real influence on students in school. So essentially we set up this programme and it's being run to provide teachers and other staff with an opportunity to gain relevant information and then obviously pass it on to students. So we really wanted to use the programme to kind of highlight key information, especially regarding things such as entry pathways, challenges and barriers that young people may be facing, recruitment processes, any interview processes, or how to apply for roles as well. So the programme itself is actually run nationally, and we've been lucky enough to within the council to fund it throughout Essex. As I said, the aim of it is to allow teachers and staff to be more confident and better informed when discussing future choices and any potential roles or careers with students that they might want to discuss. So we have had a variety of different organisations taking part in these encounters, so we was aiming to gain interest from all different subject areas. This is unfortunately our last webinar, but we will be running this programme or a similar one to this next year, so just keep an eye out. And we also do have workplace visits which are taking place, and we have our last one taking place on Tuesday. Aside from that, we're also running a project called Open Doors, which is essentially the same as the Teacher Encounters programme. It's just going to be run with students, so teachers will get a chance to join along, but it'll be aimed at the students and they'll be able to go into the workplace and see how things run kind of firsthand, just to give them that information so they're able to gain that when thinking about anything in their future. If you do want any more information on this, feel free to drop myself an email, or you can send an email to the Careers Hub and we'll be more than happy to help you and we can guide you through it. Any more information coming up about them will be on our Eventbrite page, and all of our current webinars that have taken place, aside from one, I believe, are on our YouTube channel. So you can go through and watch those again in case you missed any of those. And the same for this one here. If you want to kind of go through, if you missed anything, you're more than welcome to join our YouTube page. I will, after this meeting, send out an email to everyone that attended and those who wasn't able to attend as well, and just give them all that information. And you can have the link to the YouTube as well, so you're able to access it quickly. So before I pass over, I just want to mention that there will be opportunities during the session for questions. Just pop your hand up or put something in the chat. I also know, speaking to Frankie, that there'll be a chance at the end for a Q&A session as well. But as I said, if there's any burning questions, just pop them in there. Right, so Frankie, I'm pleased to pass over to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. And thanks for the opportunity. It's really excited to be involved.
Thank you.
I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone at Climbing Trees today, and Sophie's as well. So we'll run through basically just a few things. So understanding the digital advertising sort of landscape, pathways to success, how we can really equip students for the industry, more about us, positive digital marketing for results, and then a little bit more about working at Climbing Trees. And then we'll end with a short video from our founder, Alex. So a little bit about me before we start. I actually joined Climbing Trees 2 years ago this month, and I joined to help Alex, our founder, on kind of new business and I guess trying to approach businesses who align with our values and our purpose, and how we can help them grow their presence online. Prior to this, I actually spent 10 years working in digital and media recruitment in London, and had the pleasure of working with some of the companies you see on the right. And I learned a lot in that role. We helped a lot of different businesses. We worked across a lot of different positions. And one of my favourite kind of pastimes was helping entry-level students get into the industry, whether that was kind of graphic design, entry-level social media, entry-level sales, analysts, and everything like that. So yeah, it's really exciting to be here and sort of share some knowledge. So leading us into the digital media landscape, I thought it would just be really interesting to start off with a poll. I don't know if that's popping up on your screens now. we will see. But there are, well, I'll wait and see if it pops up for you guys. I'll leave it a second. There are 7,661 digital advertising agencies in the UK, and that's increased by 6.1% from last year. So there's quite a few of us. We might specialise in different things. Digital advertising is quite a large sector in itself, but there's a lot of companies who are trying to help people online. And to kind of break that down even further, for your understanding, it kind of all starts on the right with your media owners and your brands, because ultimately we've got all of these sectors who are looking to advertise their product or their services. Ultimately, that advertising will be placed on various placements on these media owners, whether they're advertising in newspapers, on digital platforms, whether they're advertising out of home, on radio, Netflix, Spotify, even gaming, like apps like Gameloft and everything like that. And ultimately, advertising agencies are there to assist all of these brands with their advertising needs and where best to be spending this advertising budget. So if we jump over to the left, we'll have the network agencies. Now, these are your big guys in that sense. They've got, so for example, Publicis Group have got Publicis Communications, which would be their sort of like PR side. They've got Publicis Media, which would be their media buying side. They've got Epsilon, which I believe is like their research side. And they've also got Publicis Health, which is their healthcare side, and Sapient, which is their creative side. So within that whole kind of network of publicists, they can service clients in numerous different ways across loads of different channels. When it comes to your independents, again, you might get full service independent agencies, but predominantly they will be a specialist in some kind of advertising or marketing experience. So we sit right here in performance. And again, you'll have independent agencies who help with creative or branding, PR and social. So hopefully that makes sense and sorts of brings to life the huge landscape of what people can be getting into. To bring that back down to like digital advertising, it's sort of split into this. I haven't really touched too much on sort of digital like builds and websites and things like that, but looking at advertising, you can see that there's a diverse range of channels which people can specialize in. It might be that people specialize in a few of these, or people just specialize in one. It might be that they choose to work for an analytics agency or a content agency, or they want to work for a full service or media buying agency. So the second fact for the day is 3.5 billion searches on Google per day in the UK. That is about 40,000 searches per second, which is huge. And ultimately, what we do at Climbing Trees is help our clients get found amongst those searches. So if you're looking to donate to an environmental charity, we will hopefully have our Greenpeace ads there to help Greenpeace grow their donations. So I think there was a poll, and it's giving you the answer. So you've won that round if you didn't have a chance to guess it. Sorry about that. But 68% of shoppers have used a Google ad to purchase online, which is a really big stat, which many people might not know. On the other side, the other stat is that 50% of people don't know the difference between like a paid and organic listing on Google. So maybe that might have some arguments. To kind of break down, I guess, the use of internet globally, it's such a huge sector. We've got over 5 billion users. That's 64% of the world's population who are using the internet. You know, over 90% of people using the internet are using it via mobile. And again, it just goes to show how much of a huge industry this is. I really actually quite liked on this slide that the average daily time spent using the internet was 20 minutes lower than last year, because I think there is an argument to be had that maybe we are spending too much time on the internet. So maybe that's a good stat. But why are people using the internet? So you can see here in this chart that there are so many reasons people are using the internet. The top kind of reasons would be to kind of find information or keep in touch with family and friends. And again, the lowest, well, the kind of lowest reason on this chart is business related research, but still that's, you know, nearly 30% of searches to do with businesses. And again, trying to meet new people or make new connections. Oh, I don't know why all my stats have popping up, so all my polls have been ruined. Apologies for people there, right there. So 73% of the UK population choose to watch movies or TV on streaming platforms, which is I actually think it started happening where streaming was overtaking kind of linear TV a few years ago, but you know, 73% is a huge number. So that means people are either watching via smart TV apps or watching via laptop devices, mobile phones, or even on gaming consoles. So again, I just thought this would just paint a picture really of, you know, how large digital media is in our world, and an average breakdown is, you know, people are using it for everything these days, whether it's to game or to read or to listen to podcasts and radio, and again, social media. So, you know, it's in our life day to day a lot, and it's important that, you know, we know these stats when we're in advertising so that we can reach people in the most effective way. And this has grown sort of tremendously over the last 5 years. It's 15% up from last year, and yeah, nearly at the trillion. So I wonder if in 2023 that will be the total for advertising spend globally. If you break that kind of figure down, you can see that, you know, it's spent on, majority of it is spent on search ads. Video ads has had a huge increase. That wasn't, I believe less was spent last year on video ads from off the top of my head. And again, banner ads. So that's everything we help our clients with as well. So again, just a bit of a background, I think, just to help you understand the sort of the digital advertising landscape for those who don't know, and then how to look more at kind of the pathways to success within here. So I think for most people, well, in my experience in the industry, you know, they're looking to find their purpose, they're looking to find companies which align with their values, or they're trying to find roles which, you know, really align with their strengths so they can, you know, champion that and become experts in their field. So I think the biggest thing we can do is, you know, really help students with what they care about and pursuing that passion they might have. Are there areas where they want to make a difference in the world with like news and interests? Then how can maybe this industry help them with that? Again, what are their strengths? They might be super like creatively minded, but might not necessarily have design skills. So they might be really strong at writing and suit kind of more into that, or even into sort of like brand storytelling and whatever else they sort of might enjoy. So to kind of link this back to subject, so the subject roles they're sort of learning about, and how we can approach it, I guess there's so many different roles in advertising, and the ones I've listed on the following slides are just a real kind of few examples, but sort of like the main roles which you might kind of fall into. So again, you can see that if you've done English, we can link this back to, you know, typical things like account management and sales, because there's a lot of communication and back and forth negotiation skills which are needed. If you're writing, it's obviously great to be strong with your English writing. And again, public relations, you might, you know, love writing, but don't want to do writing all the time. So, you know, PR can be a chance to build relationships with other journalists and things like that. Again, with maths, you know, I think maths is one of those things which, you know, if students have really excelled in maths, or maybe they're studying maths at A level or even in degree, level, they are, possessing really high sort of analytical thinking, really strong attention to detail. And again, they might be just really curious and, what's that number saying and what's that data telling us? And that can be really interesting for, roles like digital marketing or being an analyst. Again, people who enjoy maths might want to just move into something which is super maths and numbers like finance and accounts. Again, business studies, if anyone's studying that, could be a great one for our industry. Again, for account management roles or sales. But the new one in here being branding and design. Again, they might not, be strong like actually like designing or being artistic, but they are super creative when it comes to thinking. They love problem solving and they're really great at storytelling. So that's a great way to sort of get involved. And again, you don't necessarily have to be strong at maths to be an analyst either. It's because everyone interprets data and numbers in different ways. So not that numbers or data can be wrong, but when you're sort of trying to get that story from it or see what those statistics might be, it might just be that you're really strong with attention to detail and problem solving, or just really trying to find what that whole point is about. Again, ICT, or I don't even know if it's still called that, or computer science. These could be some avenues in there. Obviously, you've got web development and even product management and project management roles, which if you've got a strong computer background, you'll obviously, you might not want to code websites, but you can really understand reading code. So you could be a really strong project manager in like a web development agency. Again, I could not mention media studies. I found in my experience, a lot of people who studied media studies wanted to be more in that kind of video production side or be in film and work a lot on TV. And that's an area which could be really hard to get into, and not a lot of companies will use like recruitment agencies or specialist talent sort of places to find that, because it's such a network of people who, if we've got 15 or 16-year-olds who absolutely love videoing and it's all they do, and then they're at home and they're video editing all of their videos, hopefully they're building out a portfolio. And sometimes it's the portfolio which speaks in those sorts of roles. And again, it can be the same with graphic design. It's really important for students to have that portfolio, because lots of people want to get into that field. So that can help. I completely lost my train of thought, but that can really help. Again, art and design, various different roles within our industry for that as well. So what do people enjoy about the industry? And I spoke to a few people at Climbing Trees as well, and I think creativity and innovation comes up a lot because it is a really creative field. It's advertising, we're trying to grab people's attention and think of new ways to get in front of these target audiences, and how can we make these campaigns better. So every day I think is can be fueled with creativity and innovation. I think this industry is definitely for people who love a fast-paced environment. I think a lot of people who do sports in school will often suit really well in this industry, because they're used to sort of being kept on their toes and up for challenges and sort of not knowing one day to the next. At the end of the day, if you're working for an agency, we are servicing our clients, and a client could email us about anything, and we will have to address that and hopefully find the problem and fix the solution, or find that right strategy and help them with whatever it might be. Again, this was a big one for people at Climbing Trees, and it's just a chance to be able to do really impactful and meaningful work. Again, you could be working for clients like charities, which you are close to your heart, or you could be working for a sustainable e-commerce brand which has released a new product, and it can really change the market and help save the planet, whatever it might be, which helps people find that impact. And it might just be, someone loves dealing with people and actually they want to be in HR, and they really want to help with people's development and their learning. There's so many roles I didn't put in as well. So it's important to just really help people find that, and whether, again, this industry is for them. Yeah, this industry is full of diverse teams. As an agency, we work with other agencies. We network with events. We might work in our clients' offices. So there's lots of collaboration, lots of networking. I think if you super love doing this, then you're going to be great. And the last thing I think, which is probably the most important part of this industry, is the constant learning and development. Things change daily, new tools come out daily to help, or things happen in the world and the news which changes. So that can mean that advertising needs to be changed or stopped. But from our side, algorithms on Google are constantly updated, and we need to be on top of that for our clients and making sure that nothing will affect their advertising or their website. So again, I think if people are looking for a role in an industry where they need to sort of really stay up to date, then this is a really good one. So a little bit more about how we can sort of help equip students. I won't talk through all of these. It's a bit of a wordy slide, but I just thought it'd help as a takeaway. I think for me, the biggest things will be like encouraging these industry certificates. So you can do free Google certifications along with HubSpot. And if students or candidates have got these on their CV before they've even joined the industry, they're really going to stand out. If you've got two, like for like CVs of people looking to get in, someone who's already shown that passion and initiative, I guess, to really start learning is going to be someone who just really excels and does really well. I think the last two can be really important as well. I always remember like coming into the workplace and feeling like, oh, you weren't supposed to be like this at school, so it took some adjustment. But I think when it comes to being in a workplace, you want people who aren't afraid to say their ideas, or they're not afraid to showcase a new way of thinking, because it could be that is a fantastic idea and it revolutionizes the way the business works. So I think it's really important. I think this industry is a young industry, and it's one which is really driven by trying to keep on top of TikTok or social media and everything like that. So if we've got students who are really passionate about those innovations, again, we want to make sure that they're having a mindset of really improving and growing on those skills and the passions that they already have. So then that sort of led me into the future of digital advertising. Again, TikTok was the biggest app in 2021. I didn't have a chance to find a stat to update that, but it's still really huge. Brands are still trying to see how they can make a presence on there. I don't use TikTok, so we definitely need people who know how to use it. And again, YouTube, we were chatting earlier, and it's one which a lot of people have been growing up on. It's only something I started to watch more recently. My brother's 16, and all he does is watch YouTube and look for advice on there, or how to do this, how to change his bike tire, whatever it might be. So that, again, that's how I've started using it. Instead of going to Google, I might go to YouTube and actually look for that video first, rather than Google maybe recommending a video. Lastly, I think AI is playing a really sort of significant role in our industry. And I don't think it's anything to sort of be scared about in that sense. There's a lot of AI tools which are proven to be really beneficial for our efficiencies or for helping us with our weaknesses. Oh, thanks. Soch just confirmed TikTok was top again for 2022. And yeah, so when it comes to AI, we're using it in different ways. we're being really sort of careful. We're trying to be really transparent about it with clients as well. But ultimately, I think, depending on what age students are, if they're getting into the workplace in a few years or a couple of years, how much further is AI going to be now? And we're already using it a fair bit to help us in our day to day. I think it's important that that's being brought up and spoken about. And I think, it's really interesting actually, because on the stats I haven't shared, it shows that people ages between like 16 and 24, like for some of like the most concerned about their data online. So it'd be really interesting to sort of be having those conversations on their kind of ethical considerations and maybe what the good is and what the bad is of AI. And again, when they're interviewing, we might ask them what they think of AI. And it's really important that they like have an opinion. This industry is full of opinions, I think, as well, and I think those are proven opinions which, backed up, which work as well. But some people might just say, "Oh, I don't want to advertise on Twitter if." Oh, I can't think of any sort of scenario on the stop right now. But all I'm trying to say is that it's going to change, like what we do, how we do it, and it's important that they have an opinion on how they feel about it. So some free resources, which again, I know I've said it quite a few times, but students who are looking to get into this industry, these are the links for the training and qualifications they can get. And then on the right, these are some industry news. They're not going to find out about our industry by reading, I don't know, the Sun or the Daily Mirror. So we've got trade bodies which specialise in all of the latest news and updates within our field. So I'd recommend checking any of those out. So hopefully that's given you a real overall understanding of like the industry, how it's changed digitally, and kind of where we sit within that. So we are Climbing Trees. We're a performance ad agency. We are looking to work with brands that the world of tomorrow needs. So whether that's charities like Greenpeace, who we've won awards for, or helping pledge with carbon credits. We recently did a campaign for Essex Violence and Vulnerability Unit, which is part of Essex Police, and it was a campaign around spreading awareness for not spreading a knife. Oh my god, I can't get my words out. Spreading awareness for knives in Essex, and helping parents to have that conversation with their children about the dangers of that, and exploring the issues. And with the use of advertising, they were able to. Oh, I really should have looked at the numbers before I got on this call, but we had a really tremendous amount, and I think we've got a case study being written up, so I'll have to share that around if we can once it's done. But we had some really great results. When we work on campaigns like that, it's super meaningful. Like, why would you not want to help spread awareness of knives in Essex, and why would you not want to not help parents have these conversations? I also think at the same time, is there an avenue to help businesses who are offering services with, we work with a lot of businesses who offer services to support other businesses. But ultimately, we're a team of 16, B Corp certified, and we're on a mission to become net zero by 2030. And for those of you who don't know about B Corp, it's basically all about building purpose over profit. It started in America. There's now 1,000 B Corps in the UK. It's probably grown a little bit. It's basically businesses such as ourselves and brands like Lily's Kitchen are also B Corp, and they're just all about making sure that they're doing bits for people, for their planet, for the workplace, and ultimately, like I said previously, just putting purpose above profit. So as I've discussed throughout today, we help our clients build digital strategies around their target audience. So that might be with paid methods across some of the platforms on the left, or it might be helping them with their organic presence, like working on their website. And and perhaps suggesting different pages or different content and various things like that. We often find that when paid and organic services are really unified, that they can have a really holistic approach and really strong results, which is what we like to do for a lot of our clients. 'Cause at the end of the day, if we're driving traffic to this website through advertising, we want to make sure that that website is fully optimized and performing correctly. So how can we help schools and colleges? Well, we're doing Teachers Accounted today, and hopefully we'll be getting involved in the Open Doors project, which Isabel spoke about earlier. We also can offer our services by coming into schools and maybe doing workshops. And a big thing I'd really recommend being a part of, if you haven't heard about it already, is the Beamer Digital Day. I think this is potentially aimed at secondary schools. But the Beamer Digital Day is from the British Interactive Media Association, and I think they've been doing it for a few years now. And we basically go into a school. We did our first one last year with Manningtree High School, and I think we had about 50 students, like maybe year 9 and year 10. It might have been just year 9 actually. And it was a really, really fun day. We did like a presentation and told them about it. And what's really nice about the Beamer Digital Day actually is it really talks about digital from a whole. So it's about, what technologies can help the post office to, what digital experiences are in store for brands like Primark. And what the day involves is kind of teaching the students kind of, I guess, what they need to know. And then they basically work on a pitch, like a real life pitch, a bit like what you'd get on Dragon's Den in their groups. Then they have the whole afternoon to sort of put that together. They present back to like the panel. We were the panel, and yeah, we chose a winner, and it's just a really fun day. And it was just so inspiring to see, what these minds could come up with, because it's incredible. And what's really great about the Beamer Digital Day as well is the push to really trying to help get girls and females into digital, because a lot of girls don't know what it is, and they don't necessarily know about digital advertising, or they think it is just building websites and coding, and they're not interested in that. So there's so much more to it, and yeah, that's a really good experience as well. So a bit about working at Climbing Trees. We are based in Earlscone in near Colchester. So that's the high street. This is a snapshot of the team. We're basically split into sort of like internal, which is split with Alex, Soph, myself, and Kelly. And I guess we look at a lot of the operations and the marketing and the new business for the business. And then we've got our paid team and our organic team, which ultimately service our clients across the services we discussed. We offer a number of perks working at Climbing Trees. We have a very sort of autonomous setup, so we become quite well-being focused, and trying to make sure that people have had that training to make sure that they can look after themselves, because it's really easy just to neglect taking lunch or taking a lunch break when your head's into something. So we really, really try to encourage that and make sure that the team are looked after. We have 2 mental health first aiders. Again, we offer flexible working. Our founder Alex is all about making sure that people can work for us, whether they've got children or they want to work part-time or whatever it might be. So by having that flexible working, we just make sure that we have the core hours we need to log on for, and then if we need to go to the doctors, we don't actually need to book it off, because we have that flexible time to be able to book it in. So to really bring it back to what today is all about, some of the entry-level positions we recruit for are basically digital executives. When I joined 2 years ago, we were a team of 8. We're now a team of 16, and we are going to grow. And I think as we grow, we would look at different avenues. I know that I would love to have an apprentice or someone straight from school to come into our new business and marketing team if they really showcase that passion and I guess drive to want to do well. Again, I think as we grow, there could be roles in, you know, HR or finance or creative. So it's exciting. You know, we really want to help like connect people in Essex to Climbing Trees and what we're about, and see, you know, when they're looking for a role, if we have anything which is of interest. But the digital executive will be the entry level position. We'll be focusing on quite a bit as we grow, as these positions enable us to. This position enables our account managers to obviously service that account fully. And the digital exec would either be sat within paid or sat within organic, and they would essentially help with all of those ad hoc tasks for the account manager. So it could involve exporting data or looking at budget tracking or doing keyword research. And the beauty of this is that, you know, there are no 2 days which are the same. So I'm sure many of our people at Climbing Trees could say that would say that. So there'll be so much more on that list that they'd be having the opportunity to learn about. I guess what we look for, which is everything on the right, again, just anyone who's got that interest and showcases that passion and a really positive attitude to learning. We're really hot on our learning and development. We're all doing courses and fit that in with our workloads, because, you know, we want to make sure that we're staying up to date. And, you know, when it comes to my role, I want to make sure that the way I'm presenting to clients is great and it's the best way it can be, or, you know, is there a better way to write an email, and everything like that. You know, that it's important that we keep developing ourselves. And then when it comes to progression, it really is sort of built around each employee. You know, we've had people who've progressed to account managers in 2 years. Our account directors and our leads have been at the business for 4 or 5 years. You know, it's we're a, we're quite a young team, I guess, in that sense. So it's people who really show strong business acumen, who can do super well in agencies and kind of take on that responsibility. But at the same time, there's no sort of one size fits all, and we've got different avenues. People might join us and find actually they've got a passion for X and they're going to move into Y. It might be that you join as a digital exec, but you really don't like all the technical stuff. And is there a way that the majority of your role could be client focused, or, you know, is there an opportunity for a new role? You know, is there innovation? Where do we need to support our growth, and how can we ultimately just help people really strengthen their strengths and reach their goals? So our interview process is really straightforward. We do a lot of stuff virtually, because we are working remotely majority of the time. We go in the office 1 or 2 times a week. So however, I think if someone was super close to the office, you know, a face-to-face interview is always nicer, just so that you can really see how well, you can get to meet us properly, and we can show them the office and everything like that. So first stage though is always sort of getting to know each other. That's normally with myself. I always try and make it super light touch. I really like to try and get the most out of people and make them feel at ease, and ultimately just see what really just makes them tick and what they're looking for out of a role and a business. The second interview is always with one of our like either our organic lead or our paid lead, and they'll ultimately then take the opportunity to explore their experience in more detail. They'll talk about the role in more detail, and then ask a series of sort of competency based questions about how they've handled different problems or challenges. And then in between those stages, or perhaps after the second virtual meeting, we'll always have a task, especially at entry level, and it's normally a really straightforward small task around I don't know, Excel or communication. If it was a different role, there might be something else, but it ultimately just gives us a chance to see what sort of levels you're at. So hopefully, like, the sound works for this. You'll have to let me know if it doesn't. But yeah, I thought I'd finish with a message from our founder, Alex.
Climbing Trees is driven by our people.
Just pause it. Could you all hear that?
Yeah, we can hear.
Cool.
We bring
Yeah, I can
meaning
hear
to our
that.
work and our relationships. Our culture is open and curious. We prioritise well-being, personal growth and innovation, so you can create a role which leaves you feeling successful. It's important that our people feel like they're doing great work, the best in their careers, that is recognised by clients, colleagues and the industry. We support and encourage our team and have a fluid approach to working. No one-size-fits-all approach. Staff can choose hours that work for them, whether they're starting out, wanting a role that gives them the opportunity to maintain their careers whilst being parents, or are looking for a final flourish to an illustrious career. Our workplace is characterised by setting our own boundaries, where supportive team members lift and encourage one another. We're all passionate about making a positive impact in the world, whilst offering industry-leading digital marketing services. Together, we can create something special, whilst building an agency which delivers positive digital marketing. This sounds like a good fit for you. Please get in touch. We're always having conversations looking to create dream roles for new team members. Climate.
What happened when I went through it earlier? There you go. That's it. Over to any questions anyone might have.
So I don't have any questions, but thank you very much. That was really interesting to hear it
Oh, thanks, Heather.
from my background's advertising, and then I worked for a design agency in London before coming into teaching. So I worked for Saatchi actually, and I think at one point, I can't remember if Publicis took over Saatchi at one point.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
So I was there sort of like 2005. But like I always think it's about 5 years ago. And you're like, oh no, it's actually about 20 years ago, longer than that. But yeah, no. So it's really interesting to kind of get a refresh on all those different elements as well. So I try and incorporate all of those vocational aspects into the course for our level 3 students. So it's probably something I'm going to look into a little bit more, I think, and see how we can. I'm interested to find out a little bit more about the workshops and things that you guys do as well, and whether that's something we can incorporate into our level 3 program.
Yeah. I mean, so are you at the Colchester Institute, like the Innovation Centre one?
No, we are at Cultural Institute, yeah. So we are by the Innovation Centre, yeah.
Because I think we're trying to I've got some emails I need to respond to, basically, where we were trying to get involved. But yeah, I mean, maybe reach out to me, Heather, or if you want to give me your email, I can I can send you.
I'll send you an email after this meeting then, and then see what we can do.
Perfect.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you. And I'm sure advertising misses you. Do you love teaching?
I do really love teaching, and I love the age group that I teach. They keep you young, and that kind of, when you said about doing the workshops, I find it kind of resonated with me. I think just the inspiring minds and the energy that you get, and the idea that nothing is impossible because they haven't been hit by all these kind of like deadlines and constraints and budgets and lead times and all the rest of it. So it's really interesting just to get a real kind of innocent, fresh perspective from students. And then, you try and incorporate all those kind of vocational aspects alongside it, but you just try and harness that kind of idea generation, the excitement. So that's the bit that I really enjoy, that part of it.
No, it is. And I used to love it when we were recruiting for entry level, and I'd always back the underdog. I always would, because like, there's nothing that, I don't know, I don't have a degree or something, and I'd be like, you don't need it, just get that passion.
See the
across,
passion, don't you? It's the passion, enthusiasm, just a good work ethic, I think, which is also those kind of other skills, those soft skills that we try and teach them alongside all the kind of technical knowledge and the industry knowledge as well, which we're finding that as a result of COVID, I don't know, but they're missing a lot of those elements, those kind of soft skills, being able to talk and communicate, and just to each other and their tutors, and talk about ideas, and so we're trying to build on all of that knowledge and experience at the moment in our courses.
Yeah, it's I mean, it was hard for adults, was like proper adults.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm a proper adult yet, but but I couldn't imagine, of being a teenager and actually living through that.
Yeah,
I was,
that was
I was
hard,
glad I
wasn't
had my own sort of place. So yeah, and I think Greater Essex Careers Hub are doing stuff to help with like virtual interviewing and doing recordings and helping them with that. So
that's a good thing. That's a good tip as well. Thank you.
Yeah. there, you know, there is so much, and it's just that confidence. And I think so much we're told, oh no, that's a no, you can't do that, or there's so much negativity, and then all of these just great thinking and great ideas just go, don't they? And I think,
Yeah,
especially in
yeah,
our industry, you know, we want people to just really be themselves and you know, bring
yeah.
everything to the table.
I think it's those initial stages of a project. I think, especially in advertising, probably more that kind of creative thinking. Like at Saatchi, they literally had a room. It was called Blue Sky Thinking Room, that you would just go and lie on the floor and look up at the ceiling. It would be painted in clouds and it was blue, and you just literally just, you
Oh
know,
wow.
look up there and just, you know, just come up with a well, their you know, their motto was nothing is impossible, and I kind of, that stuck with me as well with my students. I just
Yeah.
think it's a good, you know, good kind of approach. I don't want to limit anything at the beginning of a project. You know, you've got to try and find the thing that the client didn't think was possible, haven't you? And then kind of work back from that if you can.
Yeah, that's exactly it. No, you
Yeah.
do. No, you do.
Yeah, no, it's,
Oh,
yeah.
also,
Thank you.
let's catch up, Heather. I'm going to find you on
Yeah.
LinkedIn as well. That's
Okay,
all I can do
lovely.
this side.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your time. That's brilliant.
Oh, our pleasure. Isabel, you're muted.
I'll pass over contact details as well, if you're happy for me to do so, Frankie, and then you can kind of get in contact with each other and arrange the workshops and etc.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
Please
because I
do.
think it's great as well, because obviously you spoke about a lot about so you don't really have that kind of knowledge in terms of TikTok, but I know that loads of young students do, and they wouldn't even know that there's an opportunity for them to be able to like portray that within a role. So I think it'd be great for them to know that, yeah, and especially in like the Open Doors project, for them to be able to either come into your workplace and see that, or for you to be able to go to into the school and present that, for them to even have that knowledge and them to have that opportunity to then think, oh, actually I could kind of go down this route. It's just great for them to be able to understand that, I think.
Yeah, really, really is.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
great
I
as
think.
well. Sorry,
Oh,
go on.
sorry, Isabel. Oh,
No, go on.
jinx. I was just going to say, you know, when it comes to TikTok, we don't, you know, the fun stuff for TikTok is, you know, creating all of those videos, and sometimes that's in-house and with like creative agencies, and we get to partner with that. But you know, you might not be creative and you still want to do that, and you've still got a brilliant idea and you know your client really, really well, and you're like, oh, come on, let's give it a go.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know, we know where to put the money to help it, you know, gain that traction. So it's, you know, it is good.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, really? Because I think that's what I try and get across to my students, that you're doing graphic design, but actually, you know, I started off as an account exec at Saatchi and then ended up as an account manager. And then I left and went back to uni to do graphic design and switched roles and then became a creative. So, you know, I'm trying to say to them, within that umbrella of these agencies, there's so many different roles that you could go into. And it's actually having this grounding and an understanding coming from a design side is really perfect for that role as well, because you can then understand both the client side and then the kind of in-house side as well. So I think these are all skills that are so transferable. That age group don't realise, they just think it's a direct role and that's it. Don't they think it's a graphic design role and that's the only thing I can do with it? But those skills you can just spread across, can't you?
I honestly believe that anyone can do anything they want to do. Because why can't you? I mean, I can't be a doctor. I get that. I don't want to be a doctor, and I'd like a doctor to maybe study for a few years before he operates. But you know, anything else, why can't we go and? But if I did want to be a doctor and change and do it, I believe I could. You know, you could do that. Yeah, I know Soph did mention that she did a film and production and then stepped into marketing and now is in digital marketing, and you know,
And
it's
sometimes I
really.
think they feel that pressure as well within school, that you have to kind of know what you want to do, and then
I
you
know.
know your interest, so you have to go down that route because that's what you're good at. Whereas it's like you can build on these skills, you can go into certain roles, or you can see that your specific role might be included into like a job or an industry that you never even thought that it would kind of. It's just
exactly.
it needs to be more than conversations going on, I think.
Yeah, it's just making them more aware, I think, isn't it? That's especially my role as well. It's just to give them all the opportunities and the tools and just giving them more knowledge, and then, you know, saying, look, you're not limited by your options. This is the world is literally your oyster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also what you
No, it
said as
is.
well about like young females thinking that this isn't, you know, this is more of a male specific role. We've found that a lot in some of the other webinars that have taken place, especially like when we've been involved like engineering companies.
I watched that one.
Yeah, you automatically think that it's like a male specific role, whereas there's not, you know, they need more women in those kind of industries, in those roles, and it's just about us getting the word out there. And
it was really interesting actually on one of the ones. I don't know if it was the fire guy, the fire safety one, but he was saying it wasn't like a dirty engineering role. It was like I mean, I was thinking, wow, you know, women would be really good at that. Sometimes we're really strong with like attention to detail, or maybe we've got really small hands to get into the boxes. Who knows?
There's all them
really
little things that you don't really think about beforehand, do you? You just think, you know, it's male specific or this is female specific, like this is what I'm good at, so let me go into that. Whereas, yeah, they need to know that there's these options out there.
Yeah, it is. And I think, you know, there's a lot in schools where maybe that business stuff is pushed down and they want people to keep going into education and doing this. And it's like, well, hang on, you don't need a degree in marketing. Okay, yeah, it's great if you've got one, but sometimes you don't. Maybe you get into it and then go and get a degree to strengthen your career growth. Who knows? But
absolutely, yeah. And it's great that you've mentioned about all these certificates that you can get online that you can complete, which will obviously like give you a bit of an advantage when applying for the job as well, which you can just go on and kind of complete them yourself. You don't, it's not like you have to go in and spend all the money at university or etc. And obviously that does give you more knowledge within it, and that is the way that some people like to do it, absolutely. But for some people that doesn't work. I mean, for me, I know I wouldn't have enjoyed university, things like that, so I wanted to go into a job that didn't specifically need it. But there's a lot of jobs that, you know, you think you need that, but actually it's not about that. It's about the skills that you have and your work ethic.
it is, especially, you know, whatever that stat was, like 7,000 agencies, you know, that there's not loads of 1,000 people agencies out there in the UK. You know, there's some really small agencies, maybe like bigger, like a bit bigger than us, or whatever, but you know, there's a chance wherever, and to get that experience and to be qualified with those exams. I was going to say, actually, I forgot to mention it, that I don't know if there's any age limit on it, on the exams. Like you maybe have to be like 16 plus, or I can't imagine it being 18, but I thought I should probably just say that.
That's absolutely fine. Well, I'll send them out, as I said, anyway, and I'll send it to everyone that wasn't able to attend, and we can put it on our social media if you're happy for us to do so, just so that people have the knowledge. And, you know, if it is an age limit, they can kind of do it when they get to it anyway.
Yeah, or maybe get a parent to sign in for them.
Perfect.
No more parents buying alcohol. Can you sign me in to get me this Google certification? Oh, cool.
Right,
well,
lovely.
thank you so much.
Thank you all. Is there any more comments before we
Thank
finish
you.
up?
Thanks so much.
No,
thank
perfect.
you.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. As I said, I'll send out an email after this with all the information that we've spoken about and the presentation if you're happy for me to do so.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
Lovely.
a lot. Nice to see you all.
Thank you so much, and thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.
That's all right. Bye.
Bye.